province has faced similar challenges in the past. We're able to overcome them before, and I have no doubt we will do it again. The government recognizes that as business leaders in your community, you are the job creators, and we're here to support you as Albertans and help Albertans get back to work. It will take a concerted effort, but we do, by working together as a team, we can create prosperous, resilient, and diversified economy for all Albertans. So, without a doubt, small businesses are an integral part of Alberta's economy. They make up 95% of all businesses and more than 1/3 of the private sector jobs in Alberta. So it's important to us all, especially at the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade, to help you do what you do best, turn great ideas into even better made-in-Alberta products and services. We know entrepreneurs and job creators need access to capital in order to launch startups and fuel growth. To do that end, one of the first things Minister Billis, my minister, announced when Economic Development and Trade, or ED&T, was created was increased funding to the Alberta Enterprise Corporation. $50 million in new funding has been made available over 2 years to help entrepreneurs get their ideas off the ground. The AEC will invest these dollars in venture capital funds. AEC will invest these dollars into venture capital funds that have a track record of success and strong global network. These venture capital funds then invest in technology and innovation-focused startups, as well as high-growth potential small and medium-sized companies. An increased investment in AEC makes it possible for more Albertans interested in diversifying and driving the Alberta economy forward through technology to make an impact and get their products and services to market. We have also outlined a $1.5 billion increase to Alberta ATB's financial lending capacity. By providing ATB Financial with access to more capital, we are supporting small and medium-sized companies finance their growth and innovation. ATB, which also has a strong presence in rural Alberta, is well positioned to enhance small business supports province-wide. AEC and ATB certainly play a significant role in increasing access to capital, but there are a number of other initiatives we're putting into action as well. Alberta Innovates offers programs and services to Alberta businesses and researchers to help them develop and commercialize their ideas. For example, the Enhanced Innovation Voucher and Small and Medium-Sized Businesses or Enterprises Support Program provides financial support during the challenging early stages of developing innovative ideas. This program has a proven track record in improving technology, commercialization, and entrepreneurship in Alberta. In addition, an additional $5 million has been made available on top of the existing $4.1 million to help high-tech, small and medium-sized businesses grow so they can create jobs. We are also working with the Business Development Bank of Canada to align our resources and enhance access to capital and services for Alberta companies. We will be exploring new opportunities in several areas, including enhancing venture capital funding in the province, development of an Alberta BDC Initiatives for Small Business initiative, development of a new Alberta BDC financing and non-financial initiatives to enhance export development, and improved service delivery and collaborative solutions for venture capital and other business financing challenges. Our goal is to streamline access to business supports. We will continue to explore options to ensure businesses have access to capital that they need to get their products to the marketplace, but we won't stop there. We want to do everything we can to set up Alberta companies for success. We have a number of supports and services to help small and medium-sized companies navigate Alberta's business environment. A partnership with Western Economic Diversification helps deliver services through BusinessLink, a not-for-profit company that provides access to in-person phone and email services and webinars to all corners of the province. It also hosts the Small Business Advisory Program, which gives individual small businesses business support information and helps them navigate government regulations and programs. The service is unique to Alberta and has provided one-on-one guidance to more than 2,000 small businesses since its launch in 2014. There's also Small Business Resource website, a one-stop shop for information and links to small businesses, programs, projects, and resources. And the Rural Alberta Business Centres are also a significant support for businesses in Alberta. They provide advice and information services to rural entrepreneurs and small businesses through 4 sites located in Camrose, Cold Lake, Hanna, and Rocky Mountain House. Other partnerships include those with Futurepreneur and the Alberta Women Entrepreneurs that help expand support to youth and women entrepreneurs. We also collaborate with Alberta Chambers of Commerce to help deliver a series of province-wide workshops to help local business owners better understand the range of small business supports available to them. The intent is to increase uptake of these services so small businesses have every chance of success as they launch and grow. In addition to these existing supports, an update to the small business strategy will soon be underway. This will ensure government support for small businesses aligns with the current economic realities while laying the foundation moving forward. We want to see Albertans take advantage of all of these opportunities in our province and flourish. This means creating an environment that allows you to do just that. To that end, it's time we bring diversification of business development to the forefront. Diversifying our economy is more important than ever, as not only a critical step mitigating our current economic situation, but also to pave the way forward for Alberta's future. Our innovation system will play a key part in our diversification efforts. The system will support sectors like finance, telecommunications, environmental technologies, and nanotechnology. But we understand that innovation isn't just about exploring new frontiers. It's also about looking at areas we're already familiar with and finding ways to raise the bar. For example, we'll be focusing our efforts on culture and tourism. I'm sure everyone in this room can attest to our province is spectacular. There's no shortage of breathtaking views or exciting activities. We already benefit from a solid culture and tourism industry, but we think we can build even further on our success. We want to build off of our strong reputation to draw visitors from all over the world to non-traditional regions and grow visitation to our primary attractions. At the end of the day, we must be able to capitalize on Alberta's strengths such as agriculture and agri-food processing and forestry, as well as bolster up-and-coming industries like clean technologies and petrochemicals. These sectors benefit from strong knowledge and extensive expertise that give us a competitive advantage in the international marketplace. One step the government has taken in that direction is the Climate Change Leadership Plan, which will make Alberta one of the most environmentally responsible energy producers in the world. We have done this to protect the health and environment and economy of our province for our future generations. However, it will also support innovation in the creation of new jobs. Alberta's innovative companies will have an important role to play as we move toward clean, renewable power and make Alberta a leader in energy efficiency. We are already well on our way to developing new technologies that are driving transformative change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions, creating energy-efficient processes, converting waste to fuel, and improving responsible, sustainable development. By encouraging innovation, we can find new ways to leverage our province's strengths and foster development and diversification across a variety of sectors. In fact, part of the Royalty Review panel's work was to examine ways to generate new opportunities for value-added processing and diversification. The panel's report urged the government to think creatively about what we can do to examine opportunities to accelerate the development and commercialization of partial upgrading and value creation technologies for bitumen. We have begun moving in that direction. Last month, Minister Billes announced the new Petrochemicals Diversification Program. By using royalty credits, the program will encourage companies to invest in the development of new petrochemical facilities in Alberta, and it is expected to support the construction of several petrochemical facilities that use methane or propane to produce the building blocks for products like plastics, detergents, and textiles. The new facilities could create up to 3,000 new jobs during construction, as well as more than 1,000 jobs once operation begins, and attract between $3 to $5 billion worth of investment. The results of the Royalty Review will also provide a measure of certainty to foreign investors. Alberta's modernized royalty system will be more transparent and efficient and will encourage job creation, reward innovation, and offer stability to those looking to invest in Alberta. Although we have a number of sectors to work with, both natural resource-based and value-added, we need our efforts to be strategic and focused. With this approach, Alberta companies will also have a better understanding of export-ready products and services and lead the way in accessing new markets. In all of these sectors, we are working with Alberta companies to expand their product offerings and their market potential to create opportunities, new opportunities for investments and new jobs. Similarly, on trade agreements with other countries, we're working with the federal government to advocate on behalf of Alberta's best interests. We are committed to supporting the responsible growth of trade opportunities for our export sectors. We want to encourage continued responsible resource development across the province so we can create jobs that support Alberta families and promote vibrant communities. Even though the current economy presents many challenges, it isn't hard to imagine Alberta back on top. To get there, it's important we work as partners. Because if we come together to build on the strengths of our tremendous resources and to explore new opportunities, we can lay the groundwork for stable and prosperous tomorrow. I hope I can give you a clear picture as to what the government is doing to support small and diversified economy. I'd also like to get your valuable feedback to continue to engage with Albertans so we can do what's best for our province as a whole. We want to hear your thoughts and ideas as to how we can achieve our goals of a stable and diversified economy for Alberta families and communities. With that in mind, I'll be happy to hear your questions when we do the question and answer panel later this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Minister Cripps, for your words. As I was listening to them, there is a lot that's going on in Alberta, and when I try to string it back to what St. Albert's doing, we're excited to be hopefully introducing an incubation strategy pretty soon in the future, and a lot of the small business stuff that you talked about and incubating and nurturing those businesses is important to St. Albert, as long as bringing in innovation to St. Albert. So I think we're aligned in those ways. So as Deputy Minister Cripps said, he will be back on the stage. We're going to have a question and answer period around 8:10, 8:15 today. So if you have any questions for him, I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them. So in today's economic landscape, many of us are wondering what it means to St. Albert. And these breakfasts can sometimes be a hurrah, look how great we are and look at what we're doing. But we're not going to be blowing false sunshine anywhere today. So St. Albert is quite fortunate to have an economic analyst, Rhys Chouinard, with us and working on Mr. Boston's team. So instead of just trying to imagine what's going to happen, Rhys spends a lot of time with the data and trying to actually see correlation and what is happening in the province and in St. Albert. So he's going to come to the stage now and he's going to present St. Albert's economic exposure. And if you'd like to follow along with his presentation, there's a tent card on your table which has what do you call them, QR code. If you scan it, you can get the entire link to his report. So where is Rhys? All right, come on up, Rhys, and let's dazzle us with that big brain of yours.
Good morning, everyone. As she said, my name is Rhys Chouinard. I'm the Senior Corporate Analyst at the City of St. Albert. And we wanted to title this, I wanted to title this something like Leading Economic Indicators or Economic Metrics, and they said that is nowhere sexy enough for our business breakfast. So I'm going to talk today about St. Albert's economic exposure. We're going to go through a bit about what is happening in the Canadian economy. Then we're going to talk about how has the outlook changed over the last 18 months or so. And of course, we want to bring it home with what do all of these things actually mean for St. Albert? So the first chart we're going to look at is just a way of visualizing Canada's economic growth. This is called a variable width bar chart. Now the width of each of these bars shows you the individual provinces and their contributions to Canada's overall GDP. So if it's hard to see, left to right is Ontario, Quebec, and then that nice wide, tall-looking bar is Alberta. Now the width shows you what fraction of Canada's overall GDP, and the height shows you how much this province's economy grew relative to the previous year. So the nice thing about this is the area of each of these bars is telling you what this province's contribution was to Canada's economic growth in that year. So of course this is a nice healthy-looking chart. That's because it's 2013. So we're going to move forward to 2014, and again, Alberta was ticking along, doing okay. And then this one is 2015. So we see right away that the resource-producing provinces are suffering from the low oil price environment. So Alberta slightly contracting, Saskatchewan slightly contracting, and Newfoundland contracting as well. But it should get better. Here's 2016, growth is starting to pick up a little bit. And then by 2017, we're looking at around 2% economic growth across the board for most provinces. The next thing we have to talk about, of course, is the price of oil. So this graph is showing you the price of West Texas Intermediate. This is a benchmark for North American crude oil in US dollars per barrel. So the left-hand side is the historic data, and then the right-hand side of the chart is showing you the forecast for oil prices. So you're probably noticing, well, hey, this forecast is showing oil up at $90 a barrel, moving up towards 100. That's because this is the forecast from summer of 2014. So this is about 18 months ago. This is the same forecast 6 months later, Christmas 2014. Same forecast 6 months after that, summer of 2015. And this is the most recent forecast a few months ago, Christmas of 2015. So you can see that the outlook has deteriorated a little bit. And if we're looking at the very bottom line, the most recent forecast, you can see that a lot of people are saying this one looks like it's going to be lower for longer. And that's a nice way of summarizing that the forecasts are calling for oil to not get back up to the $80 a barrel range until somewhere around 2020. So these forecasts have changed a lot over the last 18 months, and all you can really do is measure how the seas are changing and choose the best way to steer your ship through it. So this isn't the first time this has happened, though. How has this oil price crash we're in right now compared to ones we've seen previously? So this is the same chart, North American crude oil, US dollars a barrel, but we're looking at a 40-year history here. So the first arrow is pointing out when oil crashed in around 1986, went from $30 a barrel down to 11. Second arrow is looking at the oil price crash during the Asian financial crisis, 1997. Then, of course, the big crash we saw in 2008, and the very last arrow is pointing at the one we're in now. So if you look at the height of the peak, when oil was its most expensive, and then you look at the trough, the very least expensive price of oil during like the worst part of the crash, you can actually calculate a relative drop. So here we have the relative drop for each of these oil price crashes we were looking at, 1986, 97, 08, and then 2014. And what we see is, when we look at it in relative terms, going from $30 a barrel down to 11 is just as severe as going from $100 a barrel down to 30. So really, the thing to take away from this chart is this one's as bad as they come. I mean, that's the last bar. We're at a 70% relative drop. But we've been here before. This isn't the first time we've seen this happen. Now that we've looked a bit at the historical context, we want to try and use what we know about the past to see if we can figure out what's going to happen right now and in the future. So this chart is showing you of all of the migration coming into Alberta from other countries and other provinces, where are the people settling? And you're probably saying, well, why is he talking about migration? Migration is really important for supporting population growth and for supporting housing growth, which is the residential side of the economy. So here, the two top lines are Calgary and Edmonton. This is showing you on a percentage basis which census divisions are picking up what share of the in-migration. And the interesting thing about this chart, it's showing what happened the last time there was a severe tanking in oil prices in Alberta. And actually, the major population centers tend to pick up a larger fraction overall of the total in-migration. And this is important because we know migration has decreased steadily over the last few years, and this trend may help offset some of the negative impacts that we would see to population growth and the housing market in the capital region. Now, we can measure housing growth by region during the last 3 oil price crashes and kind of see how has St. Albert, which is the yellow bar, how did it perform relative to maybe Edmonton and then the province overall? So the first cluster of bars is the housing growth in each of these regions during the 1986 oil price crash. And what you can see is St. Albert actually outperformed Edmonton and Alberta in terms of its housing growth during that 1986 crash and the 1997 crash. During the 2008 financial crisis, Alberta suffered really badly all across the board. But St. Albert still managed to hold its own there. Each region grew within about half a percentage point of each other. So we've talked a little bit about the residential side of the economy. Let's look at the non-residential side. This chart is showing you Alberta and Edmonton's non-residential investment as measured by building permits. So these are building permits for upcoming construction of industrial buildings, commercial, and institutional. And it's really hard to put Alberta and Edmonton on the same chart because Alberta will have a greater number of building permits. So what I've done here is taken each trend line and measured it against its own 35-year average. So I've just scaled them so we can kind of compare each region's performance relative to itself. And the blue bands, you'll see 4 of them, those are just meant to draw your eye to the periods when there were these oil price crashes over the last 30 years. So the first thing you'll notice is Edmonton and Alberta track each other fairly well. That's not surprising because Edmonton's a large portion of Alberta's economy. The other thing you'll notice is the non-residential investment will have been picking up, and then there's an oil price crash, and you'll see the curve kind of turn over. That's just showing the pain felt in the low oil price environment. And the trend is very pronounced in 2008, and we actually start to see the same trend occurring in 2014, 2015. The non-residential investment is taking a bit of a hit from the low oil prices. So now we want to look at the same chart, but for St. Albert, and see, is St. Albert behaving the same way as the province and the capital region? And it doesn't. So this is St. Albert's non-residential performance, and we'll go back quickly. This is Edmonton and Alberta's. So the first thing you should notice is that St. Albert kind of bucks the provincial trend. And you'll notice during a lot of these oil price crashes highlighted by the blue bands, St. Albert will actually tick up sometimes during the oil price crash relative to the previous year. And it doesn't really seem to follow the trend of the capital region either. It kind of marches to the beat of its own drum. And another interesting thing you can notice is in between the periods of severe oil price crashes, there are these one-off years where St. Albert experiences really healthy, strong, non-residential investment. So this chart is telling me that St. Albert is a really good place to invest in at any point in time. It doesn't seem to follow the same cycle as the province overall. So keeping on that topic of non-residential investment, this chart is showing you St. Albert's industrial building growth over the last 15 years, and then what we're projecting for the next 5 years. So this is measured in millions of square feet, and you can see we've had really steady growth over the last 15 years. And as of 2015, we're sitting at around 3.3 million square feet. But over the next 5-6 years, we're expecting to be at closer to 5.5 million square feet. This is really, really strong industrial growth. And these are coming from new projects like the warehouse in South Campbell, a few lots in North Campbell, Elysian Fields, the Anthony Henday Business Park, and of course the employment lands when they start to come online. So regardless of what's happening with the price of oil, we're still projecting very strong industrial building space growth in the community. So now I've hopefully convinced you that St. Albert seems to behave a little bit differently when you compare it to the province and the capital region. So we need to be curious, well, why is this happening? What makes St. Albert unique? And so what we're showing here is the labor force exposure by region for St. Albert, Edmonton, and Alberta. And this is just a fancy way of saying, out of all workers in Alberta, what fraction of them are working in different industries? So it's putting everything on an equal footing on a percentage basis. And I'm sorry if you can't read the titles of the sectors, but I'll read them for you. It's healthcare and social assistance, agriculture, resource-based, and utilities. This second cluster of bars is the oil and gas, and then educational service, professional and technical services, and public administration. So when we look at the second grouping of bars, Alberta is the blue bar, St. Albert is the yellow bar, and we see that of all workers in Alberta, about 8% of them are employed in the energy industry, the agriculture and resource-based one. And St. Albert's fraction of labor force in that grouping is about 3%. So there are less St. Albert workers in the energy and the agriculture industry, and there's more St. Albertans working in industries like educational services, public administration, and healthcare and social assistance. So this is showing you how St. Albert is a little bit unique in terms of its labor force, and it's actually underexposed to the energy industry when you compare it to the province overall. Well, you can look at the same thing, but in terms of the business community. So out of all of the businesses in Alberta or the Capital Region or St. Albert, what fraction of them belong in which sectors? And again, I've highlighted 5 different sectors I think are telling an important story. And the one we want to look at is the second cluster of bars, because there's this really stark contrast where Alberta's fraction of businesses that are in the energy industry are up at around 12%. And the number of St. Albert businesses that are in the same or the business sector of agriculture and resource base is down at around 1%. And the Edmonton CMA, the number of businesses that are just below 2%. So there are less St. Albert businesses in the energy industry, and there are more St. Albert businesses in sectors like other services, retail trade, healthcare, and social assistance. So again, this trend is starting to stick out, where St. Albert is actually underexposed to the oil and gas industry in terms of its business community when you compare it to Alberta on a pound-for-pound basis. So to wrap up, it looks like Alberta is facing another tough year in 2016. There's no doubt about that. But most forecasts are calling for growth to start to improve a little bit in 2017 and 2018. And I think St. Albert is uniquely positioned to be a leading example of what a diverse and stable community looks like. Now, St. Albert's diversity in terms of its labor force and its business community actually underexposes it to the energy industry, which means it doesn't tend to ride that same boom and bust cycle that we see the province riding. And finally, the Economic Development Division at the City of St. Albert provides all of these really great analytical tools for the business community on the website. It's under the plans and publications portion. So we have a lot of studies on migrant captures, just generic economic indicators, labor force studies, business diversity studies. They're there for you guys to use so you can plan to make sure that your business is ready for whatever the future may hold for you. Thank you for listening to me.
Good job, Reese. That was excellent. He's an interesting guy to talk to. I like the dance to the beat of your own drum comment, because St. Albert does do that well. So I said earlier that we didn't want to blow false sunshine anywhere, but when you hear a presentation like that, you actually believe there is a little bit of sunshine in St. Albert. And although we might be beating to our own drum, we're going to toot our own horn too. So good for you. So yes, St. Albert is going to be, and hopefully will continue to be, an example of what an economy can look like that is diversified and stable. And hopefully a lot of that is going to do with some strong leadership in council, hopefully. And as well, we have this wonderful department that Guy Boston leads up in economic development. So next up, we're going to meet his team. So we're going to do a 4-part symposium. Are we all coming to the stage at once? Okay, so I'm going to introduce Guy Boston. I'm sure everyone in this room knows Guy. He's our Executive Director of Economic Development. We have Joan Barber. She's with Business Retention and Expansion. And we have Sean McRitchie, who is our Manager of Business Attraction. And they're going to each do a presentation. I've got us a little bit ahead of schedule, so you guys can really take your time and need to say what you need to say. So everybody, a round of applause for Guy Boston and his team.
Well, thank you very much, Kathy, and we really appreciate the service that you bring in helping us MC this event. You bring us a level of class that we may not have had in the past, so I appreciate that. Right off the hop, I do want to thank a bunch of people. I always seem to forget or I neglect to thank people that put this event on. This is our 11th event, and it is a big event, and it's our marquee event from an economic development perspective every year. So I do want to thank our staff in economic development. We have a great team. I mean, we say it every day. We love going to work. It's a fun team, very dynamic team, and you know, Reese, you've seen him, but there's 5 or 6 other folks that we have at the front and around the back that help make this happen. I do want to thank, there's a bunch of people in the whole corporation that help support this. Graphics and communications have a big role to play on this, and the graphics that come up, you know, every year that we have for our event are spectacular, and I really do like this one. I mean, it's amazing around the Imagine Possible theme. Planning and engineering and development, I mean, they're a big part and support of what we do in our community around economic development. And I'd also like to recognize ISL Engineering and Land Services. So the LRT video that was running, they prepared that, as well as the virtual reality experience. So some of their team members are here if you want to just wave wherever you guys are sitting over there. So if you're interested in learning more about that, go see them. All right, let's see if I can figure out how to work this now. That's his, that's me. Imagine that. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time now talking about, did we ever imagine, 5 years ago, did we ever imagine that we'd have what we currently have now going in St. Albert? So that's what I'm going to spend some time doing. So right off the hop, I'd like to say that, what we've got going now is a whole city focus on economic development. 5 years ago, we didn't have that. We've got council, we've got administration, we've got all departments in the city understanding what economic development can do to bring to the city of St. Albert. Spectacular. We have worked ourselves into a trusted advisor role. We find that people, investors, prospective investors, existing businesses, they will call us. They're calling any one of us in economic development to ask for advice. You can see the type of advice that we can give them with what Reese has presented. It's spectacular advice. So we're very happy and we guard that reputation carefully. Sometimes it's uncomfortable conversations we need to have, but we have them with our investors and people that do call us. We have an advisory board, EDAB. That's our Economic Development Advisory Board. Janelle is our current chairperson. She's over there. Richard Iwaniak is sitting beside her, vice chair, incoming chair. We have a number of members here. Maybe just put your hands up, those of you that are on our board right now. Kind of all around. There's a dozen of them, and this is our second round with the board. So we just have 6 or 7 new members on it to add to 5 or 6 that we carried over from the first board. Spectacular advice, very engaged. We're very excited about that. Smart City Master Plan. This is an economic development strategy, but you're going to be hearing more and more about our Smart City Master Plan in the next month or two as it is being presented to City Council, and it is really creating all kinds of opportunities for us in economic development and putting us on the radar. And Sean will talk a little bit more about that in some of his presentations. So now what I want to do is go through what some of the development progress has been like in St. Albert over the last 5 years. That didn't work. Here we go. Okay, so this is a map of St. Albert, and you're going to see this pop up again and again as I take you on a quick tour to the 4 corners of St. Albert. Yeah, all 4 corners. So here we go. What am I doing wrong here? Is it left, right, or up and down? It's the right hand. Right hand. Oh, right hand. Okay, here we go. All right, so we're going to start off with Grandin Park. That is the mall site. So if anybody has been by there lately, this is what it looks like. And these are all very recent pictures that we're taking. So this is looking northeast from Grenadier Park. So there's 2 condo buildings that are going up. It's 142 units. It's going to add about 200 more people living in the downtown. Ultimately, 2,300 more people on this development will be living in our downtown, which is really our downtown area redevelopment plan vision coming to life. Joan will talk a lot more about this and what all of this additional population means to our downtown. I want to talk a bit about Jensen Lake. So this is a development that's up on the north side of St. Albert. This is a Melcor development. And here is a shot that we took. It's looking east, and we took this on Friday with our drone. So if anybody was here last year when we flew our drone, illegally apparently, we got a little bit of press about doing that. We just flew it in the back there very safely. We are now fully legal. Reese and Harold, where's Harold? Wave around Harold. There's Harold's over there. They spent a year learning about how to fly a drone, and we've got our license. We've got to submit a notice to airmen when we do fly it. I mean, it's a huge process. And actually, our IT department is now the owners and controllers of our drone. But this is the shot from the drone looking at the Jensen Lakes development. As you can see, all the infrastructure is in. This is going to be a very unique offering of a neighborhood in St. Albert. You can see the show homes that are being built as we speak, and I'm hitting the right button, and come on. Yeah, here we go. So as you can see, they're under construction, and like I said, this was just last Friday, so I believe they're going to be ready for this spring and summer. Where's our Melcor bunch? Right over here. Excellent. All right, South Real. So that's down on the south end. Can you see that on the map? It's a little hard to see. It's those 12 pixels at the bottom there. I don't know if you can see them. So this is Great West Life's development. This is 157 acres, as you can see here. This shot wasn't taken last Friday, but it was taken last fall, I believe. But all of the infrastructure is in. The road is in, and all of their site servicing is in. And they should actually be building this year. We are looking south. So this the drone was kind of hovering over the Enjoy Center looking that way when they took this shot. So that's Ray Gibbon Drive you see on the one side of your screen there. Erin Ridge North. So this is up at the north end. This is where the Costco is and all those other developments. And in fact, it was probably, 4 or 5 years ago where I talked about the Costco, and I just said that I couldn't announce them at the time and said that this is where you could buy ketchup by the case, and it just seems like we need to keep bringing that up every time I'm here. So this is, again, a shot taken last Friday. We're looking east. It's kind of hovering over top of the west side of St. Albert Trail. The Costco is to the left side of your screen, and you can see all of the commercial and retail units that are being built by Cameron Developments in the foreground. And if you drive by there today, it's just a hubbub of activity, and there's much more to come. Landerex is also a significant developer in this area, and in fact, you know, our largest concentration of most recent multifamily development is occurring in that site. All right, now we're going to do about Ville-Giroux. So this is on the west side of St. Albert. It's our first urban village, and this is being developed by Sidex Group of Companies. It's a new developer in St. Albert, and they are building 300 units in 2 buildings. And again, this is a shot from our drone, and we are looking east, and this was taken on Friday. And this is, I don't know if the drone took this picture or not, but certainly a lower level shot. Riverside. So this is, again, it's a newer development that's occurring in St. Albert on our west side. This is a combination of Reedland, Genstar, and Sarasota. And in fact, in this area, there's already several dozen of homes that are already occupied. There's a number of different variety of products that are available in this neighborhood, and it is poised for rapid growth in the next few years. Boudreaux. So this is the old Hull site. So this facility sprung out of the fact that this site was sold by the Hull family, and in fact, there is now a significant retail hub that's doing very well, and it's quickly becoming a local and city gathering place. So I don't know if you've been there, but there's a number of very quaint and usable retail offerings there. The residential buildings are well underway, and I think their first one's going to be ready for occupancy in 2016, and I think, Sean, your grandmother's got one of those, right? Excellent. Bellevue Village. So this is immediately south of here, so right behind it. So between us and the Great West Life one that I showed in South Riel is this Bellevue site, and this is owned by Cape Construction. They have been in front of the public with this great mixed-use development plan for here. They've got a vision of a grocer, a hotel, restaurants, rental apartments, which is interesting, and they have a spectacular view of the lake. This little rendering here is looking in the southward direction, and this shot here is looking north, and you can see the Enjoy Center and how close that it is to the Enjoy Center. And in fact, there's going to be some great synergies associated with their development and with the Enjoy Center here. And we should see some development activity on this piece of property this year. I'd also like to mention Averton, and I think I saw Paul and Matthew here somewhere. And in fact, their head offices are here in the Enjoy Center. They are developing the lands that are immediately east of here, and so the Enjoy Center, GWL, and Cape are all working very closely together, and we hope to be able to bring you some interesting news with regards to their development this year as well, and hopefully see some activity out there this year as well. Right, Paul, Matthew? Excellent. All right, and I'm just going to wrap up and just say that, you know what, there's a fourth corner here. It's unmentioned, and I'm not going to say who's building down there, but it's already started. It's in South Campbell Park, and it's a very significant development. And you know what, this facility has cases by the pallet of a product that will be near and dear to all of us. So with that, I'd like to now turn it over to Joan, who will take us on a bit more of a journey and some more detail on what's going on in St. Albert. Joan.
Thank you. It'll be readily apparent by the end of the morning that Reese is the smartest one in our group. So I wore very colorful botanic pants in order to upstage him. So don't know if it's going to work. Okay, I would like to start this morning by talking about our economic vision. The economic vision is one of the pillars within the community vision. The community vision and the pillars within it are the result of feedback from over 7,000 residents. The economic vision provides us direction in the development of our work plans. The economic vision validates the importance of our downtown to our residents and will drive the work we do in the downtown. We are currently working with the University of Alberta School of Retail to complete a retail analysis of the downtown. The project will provide us with the following information: analysis of the current retail mix, identification of missing retailers, strategies to attract those missing retailers, and will also recommend hours that they should be open. The study will be completed by the end of March. At that time, our business attraction unit, which is Sean, will make a concentrated effort to attract the retailers that we require to make our downtown a shopping destination within St. Albert and the Capital Region. As Guy mentioned in his presentation, Grandin Park is coming along rapidly. With 250 extra people in the downtown core, we know that these people will do a lot to help the retailers that are currently located in the downtown. The farmers market will be staying in the downtown in 2016. It will be configured slightly different to allow for construction. And in 2017, the farmers market will actually move a little bit west and will be on St. Anne Promenade and St. Anne Street. We expect that this will be welcomed by the downtown retailers because what it does is it moves the market a little bit west, and it should alleviate some of the parking congestion. The 50 Plus Club is also going to be completed this fall. It should bring added vitality to the downtown as it will have the ability to host additional events. I also want to talk about the collective. Economic Development is excited to be working along with FCSS to create the collective at 43 St. Thomas Street. The storefront facing St. Thomas Street will become a pop-up style space where young St. Albert entrepreneurs can start their own mini retail businesses collaboratively under the retail name, The Collective. ECDEV, along with another group of downtown businesses, are excited to help these young business people by acting as one of the mentors to teach the business skills required to be successful. If you are interested in this initiative, please talk to one of the ECDEV team after breakfast. The downtown is changing. 2016 will be a busy construction year in the Perron District. Once weather conditions are favorable, work on the St. Anne Promenade will begin again. If all goes well, it will be finished in time for the Children's Festival. Once the promenade is completed, the work on the roundabout will start. I have a new appreciation for roundabouts. We just returned from Portugal, and we went through hundreds of roundabouts. And you would enter the roundabout, and if you missed your exit the first time, you would just keep going around until you got it. Second time, sometimes it took us 3 turns before we got out, but they were fabulous. So looking forward to this one in St. Albert. Also, the St. Anne, St. Thomas intersection will be changed so it is perpendicular to St. Anne Street, and we'll have dedicated turn lanes, so that should help traffic move better. Okay, so that was just a 20-second clip of what the LRT could look like. We know that the LRT is a long way in the future, but this breakfast is all about possibilities. So why are we concerned about the LRT now? Well, as you saw in the video clip, the development of the LRT is a catalyst for development. The buildings in the LRT video are what we anticipate will happen. The decision was made to identify the alignment so land could be purchased on an opportunity basis, to protect the corridor for compatible development, to position the project for potential provincial and federal funding, and to define locations of major transit nodes to plan for higher density mixed-use development. If you have not had an opportunity to ride a virtual LRT, it will be set up over in the corner after breakfast, and Conductor Don will be happy to sell you a ticket. Tourism. We anticipate that 2016 will be an outstanding year for visitors to St. Albert. The low loonie keeps people at home, and it also means that Canada is on sale to Americans, 30% off. For the first time, visitors will have access to Lois Hole Centennial Park. The bathrooms, the road, and the parking lot are now all complete. We expect the province to open the gate early this spring. We are thrilled that access to the park is in St. Albert and anticipate that the attraction will draw new visitors to our city. Every year, St. Albert adds additional festivals, and existing festivals continue to grow. The Children's Festival is iconic to St. Albert. Rockin' August continues to expand. EEK will take place in early June, and the Sevens Music Festival is scheduled for July. Dig In, our own horticultural festival, is scheduled for mid-October. The festival will offer a culinary walking tour, a gala dinner, and a day of culinary and gardening workshops. Plans are also underway to add additional events to the festival. These are just a few of the events that are happening in St. Albert, and we would wish to thank the Chamber for continuing to welcome all of our visitors, not only at the Visitor Center, but at the pop-up tents at the various special events throughout the summer. The Botanical Loop is a bus that connects the Botanic Park, the Enjoy Center, and the Farmers Market. This bus loop provides opportunity for our visitors to get to 3 of our top botanic attractions without worrying about finding parking. The main advantage to this bus is, other than Saturdays, it has a regular transit route that takes it over throughout the capital region. This means on a daily basis, thousands of people are exposed to the St. Albert lifestyle. We believe the bus is a great asset to attract both visitors and new residents to St. Albert. We are excited about the ability to change out the rear panel of the bus. I'm not certain if you can see, but what we do is we have 3 special events that we have on the back of the bus. What we will do is we will change them up on a regular basis so people know what's going to be happening in St. Albert. 2017 is Canada's 150th birthday, so it'll be an extra busy year for special events in St. Albert. In 2015, ECDEV visited 15 businesses in 10 different sectors. Oops. The intent of these visits was to find out the health of their business and to find out if there was any assistance that they needed to grow their business. The business visits also provided us an opportunity to educate them on the tools that we have available for their use. Our many studies, plus all the analytical work that Reese does, is available to our business community. These tools are very valuable, as it is the first time we've used St. Albert specific data, and when possible, the studies include what this means to St. Albert statement. The business visits were enlightening, with most sectors reporting strong growth. The information we gathered correlates with the conclusions that Reese draws in his analysis of our economy. The business visitation program will be expanded in 2016. We will be sending out letters to industrial, commercial, and retail businesses asking if they have time to meet with us. Our goal is to complete 50 visits by the end of 2016. Redevelopment, revitalization of Riel Business Park is also on our radar for 2016. The program is not yet developed, but the hope is that we can encourage redevelopment by offering some kind of incentive program. Another initiative planned for 2016 is a business survey of our home-based businesses. The intent of this survey is to identify home-based businesses that are ready to move out of their homes and wanting to grow. Working collaboratively with NABI, a program will be developed to accelerate these businesses. I will now pass the mic on to Sean, and he will speak about business attraction initiatives.
So for everyone's sake, I left my flower pants at home, so sorry, Joan. Ouch, but good morning, everyone. My name is Sean McRitchie. Has been mentioned, I manage investment attraction here for the City of St. Albert. I'll be spending the next 5 to 10 minutes running you through what economic development is doing around business incubation, foreign direct investment, and greenfield land development. I will also provide brief updates on some key infrastructure projects. So I will begin with business incubation. St. Albert's philosophy around business incubation and business acceleration focuses on positioning St. Albert as a living lab with a healthy and robust business ecosystem. With this in mind, economic development is currently working with NABI and other key stakeholders on the development of a fulsome strategy. This strategy may include themes such as information and communication technologies, green technologies, smart construction technologies, to name a few. So for some context and background into economic development's work in business acceleration and business development, we need to look no further than the city's nearly finalized Smart City Master Plan. As Guy Boston mentioned, this is a strategic initiative with serious economic development impacts. A major theme of the master plan is to foster a smart economy and a reputation for St. Albert to differentiate the community and attract and incubate new business investment. This master plan will be brought to council in April of this year and played a large role in our recent investment and intelligence mission in Europe. So this mission began as a collaboration grant through municipal affairs in partnership with the City of Edmonton, the Town of Bonaccord, and the City of St. Albert. Mission participants included Edmonton's Economic Sustainability Group, the Smart City Alliance, of which St. Albert is a founding member, the Alberta Council of Technologies, and the City of St. Albert. Research on Investment, a consultant based out of Montreal, was contracted to coordinate meetings with pre-qualified businesses in the select locations. As you can see up on the slide here, it gives you a little overview of kind of where we went and how many meetings were held. 5 countries were visited in total, including France, the United Kingdom, Holland, Germany, and Spain. IBM, Cisco, and Siemens, all alliance members, helped us narrow our focus on these 5 countries. These five countries were based on existing smart city infrastructure and thought leadership, as well as entrepreneurial capacity in the technology sectors. ROI was able to schedule 23 meetings with companies who indicated a desire to expand into Canada that fit the Alliance's vision. Several other meetings with trade commissioners, consul generals, transportation agencies, business accelerators, and European economic development agencies took place as well. The companies met with all aligned with St. Albert's vision, brand, and existing labor force. We focused on target sectors, specifically software and information technology, clean technology, logistics and transportation, computers and electronics, and light manufacturing. And our message to the world was simple: St. Albert is globally competitive, period. Mic drop. And here was our pitch, simply put. St. Albert is a thriving community of over 2,400 businesses and over 64,000 residents. In 2014, we were the Money Sense #1 best place to live in Canada, a #5 top Alberta investment city, and one of the best communities in business in Alberta for business. We are 4 hours from the oil sands in the heart of Western Canada, adjacent to the best big city in Canada, Edmonton. Edmonton International Airport and Villeneuve Airport are in close proximity. We have a strong regional transportation network with Highway #2, Anthony Henday, and a CN intermodal yard near our border. Leading post-secondary institutions such as Grant MacEwan University, the University of Alberta, and NAIT are all located and nearly accessible via St. Albert Transit. We have a world-class business incubator located in St. Albert in Nabby. Competitive costs of labor, real estate, and business tax rates relative to neighboring regions. We have, and I'm proud to say, over 400 hectares of non-residential greenfield development space, and 70% of our labor force is in possession of a trade certificate, a college diploma, or a university degree. So I'll move on to the employment lands. If you all recall last year, if you were at the breakfast, we did have the 3 concepts for the employment lands presented, and at that point we were gathering significant feedback around the concepts. We went on for about 6 to 8 months after that, gathering as much feedback as we could from residents, from the landowners, from the business community, etc. And we presented that information to council later last year. At that point, Economic Development contracted Miller Dixon Blais, a land use planning consultant, to analyze the best use for the lands, with the results indicating that the light industrial, commercial office, and a hotel retail district was best for tax assessment growth, for job creation, and for market absorption. The Miller Dixon Blais study aligns well with the engagement feedback that we received, as the exact concept that I just discussed was what ultimately came back via the feedback as the best use for the land. The design principles will come to council by Q3 of this year to begin the process of creation of an area structure plan and an ultimate vision for the lands. So I promised a brief update on some infrastructure, so here we go. Project number 9. Planning and Engineering is presenting detailed funding options to council next Monday on March 14th, and currently Associated Engineering is in the midst of detailed design work. Planning and engineering staff are about to begin pre-qualifying contractors for construction of this, and I should mention that this project is on time and on budget, and somewhere in this room, our city engineer, Kate Polkowski, is smiling. Right there. Regarding Ray Gibbon Drive, planned as the future Highway 2, ultimately will be built out as a 6-lane freeway with 4 overpasses at Leclerc, McKinney, Giroux, and Villeneuve Road. Currently as built, this road is nearing capacity. Right now, the city is communicating with the province regarding expansion and potential twinning, although currently there is no commitment or timeline. Lastly, I should mention our investor toolkit. This investor toolkit is an incredible collection of information and resources. It contains exciting market intelligence and analytics touching on all relevant sectors, inclusive of retail, industrial, hotel, hospitality, and entertainment. The investment profile, the white book that you see behind me, is an all-inclusive document for the serious investor. It includes information on traffic counts, business tax rates, utility rates, site-specific GIS and zoning information, and much more. Thank you very much for your time, and should anyone like to learn more about these specific initiatives, please feel free to contact our office or reach out to me personally. Thank you.
Well, great. Thank you, Joan and Sean. So you're getting a really good view of our, part of our team, half of our team that we have in economic development between Reese and Joan and Sean. We've provided you a snapshot of what St. Albert is all about. So now what I would like to do is to summarize what all of this means for St. Albert. Imagine what this means. I just love our theme here, imagine possible. I kept trying to put in imagine the possible, and everybody kept saying, no, you don't need the in there. So anyway, imagine possible. So here we go. So we've provided a snapshot, come on, of what our future is going to look like. So we've talked about all the planned and active development. Would we have ever imagined 5 years ago that all of this development that's going on is currently going on? We've got everything from huge warehouses to smaller light industrial offerings. We've got retail, commercial, and housing of many different types than we've ever had before in St. Albert. We have our focus on increasing our non-residential component in our community. In fact, as Reese pointed out, we have over 2 million square feet of non-residential, that's commercial, industrial, retail, development coming online in the next 3 to 5 years. It moves us ever closer to our tax mix goal of 80-20, 20% of our tax assessment coming from non-residential. As you've heard and seen from Reese, our past practices and our future planning is providing our city with a very diverse economy. As the mayor has stated, we are neither boom or bust. So what does all this mean? So the combination of all of the construction that's ongoing, that in itself is creating a lot of jobs here in St. Albert. But the retail, the commercial, the industrial, it's all bringing jobs to St. Albert. There will be many more jobs available for St. Albertans in St. Albert in the future. We have new and exciting businesses in development that are coming and that are here now, who are actively proposing and bringing us these unique offerings and right now. This is an interesting shot, and I thought, it is not the development that Amicon is bringing to Grandin Park, but it is very similar to it, and we just thought we'd throw that in there, and it's kind of a bird's eye view. This was not taken by our drone. I just want to make that perfectly clear. So what does this all mean for us? So imagine 5 years from now, we have a growing population base in all demographics. We are constantly focusing on that. So it's everything from the preschoolers and young babies all the way up to those that are in their later years and everything in between. We will have more jobs coming here in St. Albert hand in hand with all that commercial, retail, and industrial development. We'll have a doubling, tripling, quadrupling of the downtown residents, driving a thriving and dynamic environment in our downtown. And we're going to have a more balanced tax regime. So what does all this mean? This is truly St. Albert's decade. I've talked about the past 5 years, and I'm showing you what the future 5 years looks like. Come and watch us grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guy. So as you can see, there's a lot going on in the city of St. Albert, and I was glad to see that the Smart City Master Plan was highlighted in Sean's presentation. If anyone wants to talk further about that, I'm on the committee, and I'd love to discuss it, because a lot of the stuff that we're talking about in that committee and that master plan should be hopefully in front of council in April or May. We're talking about things like open data, and Reese can just play and swim in the pool of data some more. But that's going to be really important to the business community and potential future businesses to take that raw data and do with it as you will, and predict what your possibilities in St. Albert are. We're also talking about our broadband network in St. Albert. In the future, we really won't be able to do anything business or residentially without faster access to the internet. So the city is really looking at that. And one of the things that is important to any business is transportation networks. And I know traffic is always something we're going to talk about in St. Albert and every other city in the world. We're not unique, but we're going to be looking at an intelligent transportation network so we can use technology to move people and goods as fast as we possibly can. So I'm excited about that. So we said it would be somewhat interactive, so that's enough of the formal presentations. We're going to invite now Jason Cripps back up to the stage, Reese Chouinard, and Guy, you're still here? Yeah, okay. And we're going to do a little bit of question and answer. So I hope you have some questions ready. They can range from anything. You can ask questions of the province and how they can help St. Albert. You can ask Guy Boston what that little secret spot in Campbell is. You can ask when we're going to get a movie theater. You can ask when we're going to get IKEA. Whatever, it's open up to anyone. So I'm going to start off with a question. And I was given a couple, but I'm going to throw my own. It's for the province because I have access to Guy anytime, but I'm going to ask Jason a question. I was just talking about transportation and the networks and how we need that for economic development. This region, especially in the Northwest, needs the bypass expanded. So I'm just wondering how the province relates the infrastructure of transit or road systems to economic development, and how you can help a municipality such as St. Albert with that.
Great question. Am I live? Can you guys hear me out there? There we go. Great question. Obviously, you know, we need to develop our businesses, but unless we can actually get our products to market, there's only a local domestic market you can actually sell into. So absolutely, roads, roads, railway, pipelines, all extremely important to getting our products to market. With respect to the work that's being done regionally here to support Ray Gibbon, it's quite funny you mentioned Ray Gibbon because I live in the northwest of St. Albert, and from time to time have to battle through the traffic of Ray Gibbon. It's a great road, but it does need to be expanded. I can certainly work with my Deputy Minister of Transportation colleague to see where that is at in the pipeline. But certainly if we don't have the access to the arterial roads, we can't get our products to market. So transportation is a key part of building our trade and our economic footprint for the province.
Okay, thank you. I'll continue to ask that question every time I see anyone from the province, because it's just such a regionally important road for us. But the one nice thing is St. Albert's very prominent in the Capital Region Board, and we understand that there's other priorities in the region, but we will continue to advocate for our own. Is there any questions? I know there's some mics that can be passed around, so wave at me and I can point out to the mics who has a question. There's got to be some questions about this.
Okay, I have a question.
Oh, Maya, you actually have a question.
I actually have a question. And
I thought you were running a mic around.
I'll walk the mic around to the next person. The question to Mr. Cripps. I'm Maya Punger-Buick. I'm General Manager with the City of St. Albert. And one of the things we're delivering is the Smart City Master Plan, as you've heard, and Kathy just mentioned the importance of broadband. But one of the things we're finding in this province is a need for an IT strategy for the province of Alberta. One of the things we observed in our city, having talked to the telecoms, is we seem to be in the gray land of trying to build infrastructure out. It's too expensive for them to invest, and the city doesn't really have the capital to do the massive infrastructure investment required in IT. And given how important it is for economic diversification and for productivity, not just for the city, but for the province, just wondering what your department is planning in terms of an IT strategy for the city, and whether we can expect any dedicated grants for building out our IT infrastructure. And I'm talking about gigabit broadband.
Great question. Thank you very much for the question. IT, rural broadband, internet, all key to growing our businesses in the future. That's something we've had conversations with my federal counterparts at Industry Development, or sorry, ISED, so that's Innovation, Science, and Economic Development, as well as Western Diversification. It's on our radar for sure. Do I have anything forthwith coming in terms of potential programs? Not yet, but that's something we recognize that Alberta, right across the province, both rural and urban, we have great infrastructure with respect to IT and broadband, but it's not fast enough, it's not quick enough, it's not broad enough. So that's certainly on our radar. The custodian of our IT service provider is Service Alberta. I certainly work very closely with my deputy colleague in Service Alberta, but we certainly are having conversations with Western Diversification and our Federal Ministry of Innovation, Science and Economic Development to take a look at what we may be able to do in a partnership approach going forward.
Thank you. Did we have a question? We have the mic? Harold? Thank you. If you don't mind just maybe quickly introducing yourself.
Hi, my name is Sean Goodeve, and I'm with the town of Morinville. And overall, thanks very much for the presentation, and I'm sure I'll be speaking with Reese and Guy a little later, but my question is for the Deputy Minister, and it relates to overall economic development and prosperity for the Greater Edmonton region. And within that, as you're well aware, the CRB is currently undergoing an economic development initiative and looking at various models. And my question to you, and I know it's a bit of a sneak peek and perhaps an early reveal, but just in questioning in terms of the enabling that new model in terms of either direct funding resources or through other government support, i.e. through your agency or others. And I'm just wondering if you can kind of speak to your thoughts in terms of how you're looking to overall foster and I guess assist the capital region in terms of moving forward.
Great, Sean. Thank you very much for the question. So we certainly are taking very much a partnership approach with respect to economic development and trade. The government doesn't own the answers. It's a partnership with industry associations such as economic development agencies and businesses. With respect to some of the things we're working on, I think if you take a look at the recently announced petrochemical diversification program, that certainly will benefit not only in the industrial heartland, but broader the capital region. I think those are examples of where we can use policy tools, tax tools, levers to actually grow economic development opportunities. We have, I think, 6 or 8 major companies that are actually looking to take advantage of that tax credit, and you're going to see some massive builds based on that tax credit program. So you're going to we're not only going to work on a program by program perspective with different agencies and municipalities, but you're also going to see hopefully increased use of tax policies such as the PDP program to increase development opportunities here in the province.
Excellent. All right. Is there any other questions that are related to maybe the City of St. Albert specifically? Come on, the Chamber of Commerce always has a question. Where's Linda? All right, I've got another one. I know we're talking about diversification. It's a word that's been tossed around for a long time, and Energy East is obviously something the province is working on. Tomorrow I'm spending next 2 days with mayors from around Alberta, and we're going to be sending a letter on behalf of the Alberta urban municipalities in support of Energy East. But Energy East is just focusing the attention back on the province and its natural resources. So what does the province want to do for a small city or a mid-sized city like St. Albert that wants to diversify away from that industry in the way of grants and programs that we can access?
Thanks, Kathy. Great question. So first, Energy East, we do need to get our product to market. We've been relying too much on our product going to the market to the south. So whatever we can do to diversify that, we will always be an energy province. We shouldn't shy away from that, but we need to diversify beyond that. We have some huge strengths, ag forestry, the ag processing sector, near and dear to my heart, given I spent a predominant amount of my time in the agriculture department and in and around that. So I think we're looking at actually building on some of our strengths. Culture and tourism is definitely another strength. We've got the Lois Hole Provincial Park right here, right across the street from us. With that opening up, expanding opportunities there, we need to look at tourism. So we're working very closely in economic development and trade with our departments of culture and tourism, of agriculture and forestry to really zero in on some of those opportunities that those other sectors provide for us. And I think culture and tourism, especially when you look at a 30% differential of our dollar, huge opportunities for us to attract United States visitors up here. So we certainly will always be an energy province, but we also have much more to offer on that front. We're working with our different provincial ministries to build on those strengths.
Excellent. Well, okay, sorry. Thank you. Do you want standing up and maybe giving yourself a quick introduction?
Sure. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Daniel, and a question for, I think, Reese. It was in your slide that there was a forecast for, I think, 2% growth for 2016. I'm not sure if that was Alberta or what the scope was, but can you suggest or can you share where the source of that growth should be coming from based on your forecasts?
Okay. So the variable with bar charts we were looking at, they were showing you each province's individual growth, and the very last one was 2017, and I was saying it's about 2% growth across the board. With low oil and the low Canadian dollar, the expectation is that the export industry will kind of pick up a bit of the slack because it's going to look that much more attractive to the American consumer. So they're expecting an uptick in exports, manufacturing, and a few other industries. And then, of course, they're not expecting that oil is going to stick around in the mid-30s forever. It should start to bump up to 45, maybe even $50 a barrel over the next couple of years. So that's where that renewed growth is going to come from, leveraging the low dollar, advanced manufacturing, and a bit of a pickup in export. That's kind of where they foresee that economic growth coming from for Canada.
Excellent. Any further questions? Oh, Mr. Bracco.
Thank you. Just a question. With West Edmonton Mall has thousands of tourists. When are we going to start bringing tours from West Edmonton Mall, international visitors to St. Albert to see Lois Hope Park, the Enjoy Center, also Botanical Gardens, downtown, and so on? I think there's opportunity here for us to expand. That's one question. My second one is to Deputy Minister. Australia is selling 1 million head of cattle to China every year. Where has Alberta been, and when are we going to start to be competitive with Australia in this area? Thank you.
Okay, I think we'll start with Mr. Boston can answer the first question.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Len, for your question. So your question again was about, how are we going to get people from West Edmonton Mall to come see St. Albert, know what St. Albert is. Joan and her team, with respect to tourism, are looking at a number of opportunities around exposing St. Albert to visitors. I mean, we are looking at creating an experiential tourism program, focused on that type of a thing. So, it's a great suggestion. We hadn't specifically had that in our job jar, but I mean, I'm sure, that they have been thinking about where we should target in the Edmonton region to where visitors are coming so that we can at least put St. Albert on the radar. So, appreciate that question.
Go ahead, Jason.
In terms of the beef question, we actually, right now, Canada only has under 30-month boneless beef access to China. It's remnants from our BSE, believe it or not, well over 10 years ago. We are working very closely with our federal counterparts in Agriculture Canada, as well as my counterparts in Foreign Affairs Canada, to try to actually get those rules expanded. You're right, Australia is actually eating our lunch in China. I think we have huge opportunities, especially when you take a look at the new flight from Air China Cargo that goes from Edmonton, EIA, to Shanghai, Dallas, Fort Worth. It's a three-way flight. We are working with EIA to actually increase our advocacy to actually get full open access to beef. But the Chinese government approval process is sometimes quite opaque and sometimes takes a lot of heavy lifting, and specifically at the political level. So that's something we are looking at, trying to do as much advocacy as we can at various levels to try to get full open access to beef, because I think having that Air China Cargo flight coming from Edmonton to Shanghai presents a huge opportunity for us to grow our economic two-way trade into China, specifically on beef. But we're working on it, but it's not easy slogging dealing with the Chinese bureaucracy and regulatory system.
Thank you. Eating our lunch and it's beef, right?
Yes.
I just wanted to point out that was former Councillor Len Bracco that asked that question. I just want to thank him for his years of service and continuing to come and support the city St. Albert business community. So I think it's almost 8:30, so I'm going to wrap this up. I just wanted to remind you that please stick around and network for a bit, and please try out the LRT virtual reality. I can promise you'll enjoy it. Guy had introduced earlier some of his team, but if they just want to stand up, I want to thank Dawn, Harold, I think Nicole and Michelle are still here too. Just stand up and wave, and if anyone has any questions about economic development, you can ask any of them as well as Guy's team. So I think the theme of today's entire breakfast was that we need to balance the current realism of our economic situation. We can't hide from it, but we can do that with some upbeat cheerleading, and I don't think we need to shy away from that. In a couple of years, Alberta and St. Albert is going to emerge from this stronger than before because we're going to work on our diversification. It's going to be a really grassroots industry that will develop, and I think we'll be very proud of it. And the City of St. Albert Council is going to continue to work very closely with our economic development team, the Chamber of Commerce here in St. Albert, the region with the CRB and their economic development quest, as well as our Northern Alberta Business Incubator. So we're all going to work together in a partnership to make ride this ship through this storm. And as we've seen, we've done this before, but we're resilient and we will come through. So thank you for joining us.